everyone, I'm Calluna, and welcome back to another Game of Thrones video. Well, Season 6 has come and gone, and now that I've had a bit of time to reflect on the season, in other words, watching it all over again, I've been thinking about what we can expect to come in Season 7. So, for this video, probably goes without saying, but yeah, spoilers for Season 6. And with that, here are my top 10 predictions for Season 7. Number 10. More Mormont, please. Well, one of the most consistently positive things I heard about Season 6 was the introduction to the little bear herself, Lyanna Mormont. Every time this girl was on screen, she kept my attention, and many other fans latched onto her awesomeness as well. So I definitely expect to see more scenes with her. Not exactly sure what she might do, though maybe it gives Sansa someone else to talk to besides Jon. Maybe even developing a sisterly bond. Lyanna does remind us of a more politically minded Arya, so maybe that will come into play. This is at the bottom of the list because this is less of me taking clues from the story of the show and more of a prediction just based on audience evaluation. So yeah, bring on the Mormonts. Number 9. Badass Ladies Club. When we last saw Melisandre, she was banished from Winterfell by Jon Snow for her involvement in Shireen's death. We don't get a clear indication of where she's going to go. All we know is that she's heading south. And Arya is last seen murdering the hell out of the Freys at the Twins. So, why do I think these two will meet up? Well, for one, Arya still has Melisandre on her kill list since she took Gendry from her. So, if Arya's gonna keep killing people on that list, Melisandre is sure to still be there. Second, Melisandre predicted that she would end up reuniting with Arya in the future. If you think back to Season 3, Episode 6, Melisandre also foretells Arya's blindness. So since we know that Melisandre is headed in Arya's general direction, it's definitely a possibility these two will meet up. However, these two aren't the only ones in that area of Westeros, which leads to my next prediction. Number 8. Everyone's hanging out in the Riverlands. So, we already know that Melisandre is heading south, and Arya's last known location is the Twins, but there are several other characters hanging about that general area. Of course, there's Brienne and Podrick, who escaped Riverrun and are heading back up north to regroup with Sansa. Then there's also the Hound, who was last seen with the Brotherhood without banners, and Thoros told us that their group is heading up north to fight the White Walkers thanks to some handy-dandy visions from good old R'hllor. We also know that Arya's wolf, Nymeria, has been leading a pack in that area, though this is mainly in the books, but hey, it's possible that she could show up on the show. It really wouldn't make sense if you pack all these characters in this area and have them all manage to miss one another. Now, while I've said Arya and Mel already, it will be interesting to see if Arya ends up finding the Hound is alive again, or on the other hand, if she finds Brienne, who she thinks killed the Hound, or what if Brienne finds Melisandre and decides to enact some revenge? Lots of possibilities here, so I'm really looking forward to seeing who meets up with who. Number 7. Books are the real weapons around here. So, Sam has finally made it to Old Town, and after having his bell moment, seems to be ready to tackle all the books the Citadel has to offer. Well, there's gotta be a reason Sam is here. Sam is there to find something that's been hidden within these books, but what exactly? Well, the main reason why he's there is to find something to fight the White Walkers. We already know some of their weaknesses, but maybe Sam will find some crucial element to their history. Or maybe find a way to create more dragonglass? Seeing as how a few dragons are heading their way, that's definitely a possibility. The other thing he might find that would come as a surprise to him is evidence proving Jon's true parentage. Not exactly sure what it could be. My best guess would be an eyewitness account from the maester who married Rhaegar and Lyanna in secret but then was forced to hide it for some reason. Either way, Sam's finally going to get to show how intelligent and clever he can be. My hope is that we get to meet the archmaester Sam meets in the books, Marwyn. He's a really fun and interesting character that gets introduced in A Feast for Crows, and looks to be important in the upcoming Winds of Winter book. I won't spoil what he does in case it is done in the show, but just know that he does plan to meet up with another major character in the books. I know the showrunners are trying not to introduce too many more characters since they're reaching the end of the series, but hey, if they can introduce Brother Ray and then subsequently kill him off in the same episode, introduce Kinvara but only see her the one time, and barely show Euron but try to pose him as this great threat, I think we can handle having Marwyn show up. Number 6. Sansa's Choice. Sansa's character was a bit baffling at times in Season 6. It seems like the writers were trying to make her more independent and showing how she's separating herself from traditional Stark traits. A lot of it was clumsily handled and overall just set up a really weird conflict between her and Jon. We know that she doesn't trust Littlefinger, and she wants to trust Jon, but her experiences over the course of the show have made her waver with both. Sansa will have to decide whether she's keeping Littlefinger in her life or not. I think it's going to take a life-or-death situation, aka the impending zombie horde, to really make her kick into gear and get rid of Littlefinger once and for all. I'm used to Sansa only having to deal with horror after horror, so while I hope for the best, I know that happy endings are probably not in store for her. Number 5. Dissension among the ranks. So as of right now, Dany's team consists of her dragons, Tyrion, Varys, Melisandre, Grey Worm and the Unsullied, the Dothraki, the Martell army, the Tyrell army, and a fleet of Ironborn ships led by Theon and Yara. That's quite a motley crew. Now, as badass as it was to see Dany leading all these people across the Narrow Sea, there's bound to be some conflict when they arrive. The Tyrells and Martells join to fight back against Cersei. What happens once they depose her? Will they go back to being enemies? If they find out about the Iron Islands' independence, what's to stop Dorne and Highgarden from requesting the same thing? Then there's the Dothraki. Dany specifically went after the Unsullied for an army due to them not raping and pillaging everywhere they went. How does she expect to control all of those Dothraki and force them to change behavior instilled into their culture? And back to the Greyjoys, will Yara keep her end of the bargain and prevent the Ironborn from leaving? Dany is definitely going to have to deal with a lot before she even gets to King's Landing. Depending on where her army lands, that will determine which conflicts will be addressed first. If they land at the Iron Islands to stop Euron, we might get the Kingsmoot all over again if Yara can't get them to listen to her. If Dany parks her ships in Blackwater Bay and completely raids the city, what's to stop the Dothraki from doing what they're used to? Yeah, dragons are scary, but she can't control every single individual person with that threat. And what if the Second Sons prove ineffectual leaders or turn against Dany? Hopefully, Tyrion and Varys will be enough to keep her from burning down the city. Number 4. More visions? Hooray! The showrunners found that giving Bran magical time dreaming powers allowed them to show scenes that really couldn't have fit in a normal part of the episode. Bran doesn't see the Tower of Joy at all in the books, at least so far. So unless Bran's only mission is to let the world know Jon's parentage, I expect we're gonna get more visions. I won't bother predicting future events here since I'm kind of doing that already with this list, but what scenes from the past might Bran see? Well, there's a few that come up quite a few times that make me think we're gonna see it. For one, the tourney at Harrenhal. We've seen numerous characters mention that tournament. Ser Barristan, Ned, Littlefinger. And we know that this is where Rhaegar first shows signs of attraction to Lyanna Stark. If Bran tries to find more evidence to support Jon's claim to the throne, he might look into seeing how Rhaegar and Lyanna fell in love. Another scene could be the Battle of the Trident. Man, wouldn't it be so cool to see that fight between Robert and Rhaegar? On the show, we only saw fat, older Robert, but back in the day, he was handsome and an amazing fighter. We've seen part of that battle in a vision in the House of the Undying in the book, so it wouldn't be totally out of place here. There are so many possibilities for visions. I'm planning to do a video strictly on possible future Greensite visions for the next Game of Thrones video, so let me know in the comments below what you think we might see. Number 3. Echoes of the Past. This is probably the most anticipated thing for me in the upcoming season. Jaime finally breaking away from Cersei. Once Jaime is brought back to King's Landing in the books, he and Cersei never really come together emotionally. In fact, he begins distancing himself more and more from her. This is due in part to his time with Brienne and wanting to be that honorable man she believes him to be, and also due to Tyrion telling Jaime about Cersei's various affairs with other men. When she sends a letter to him requesting that he be her champion in a trial by combat, he burns the letter and refuses to come to her aid. So we see that Jaime is growing more into his own. Show Jaime has elements of this growth, but never really broke that bond with Cersei. If anything, his love for her was even stronger having been away from her. Now though, Cersei has used wildfire to burn the city, the very thing Jaime tried preventing and what has haunted him his whole life. Cersei's actions also cost them the life of their only remaining child. The look on Jaime's face in that final court scene shows just how conflicted he is about this. I'm predicting that Jaime will end up completing the final part of Maggie the Frog's prophecy and killing Cersei. If Dany's army arrives and manages to take the city, Cersei could order more wildfire attacks since she clearly doesn't give a damn about the welfare of the people. Having seen Brienne again could instill in him that need to do the right thing, even if it means killing the woman he loves. Jaime is such a layered and fascinating character in the books, so I'm hoping we get to see more of that in Season 7. Number 2. Ned Stark, you are not the father. Well, now Bran and the audience know the truth about Jon's parentage, but no one else does. Except maybe Melisandre. I doubt that they're just going to leave that to the audience and Bran to keep a secret. After 6 seasons, there aren't too many people who can readily make a claim to the Iron Throne besides Daenerys. Things went a bit too well for Dany last season. It makes sense that they need to introduce a bit of conflict for her. If Jon's parentage is revealed, then that's a bit of good news, bad news. Good news, you have a hot new bachelor. Bad news, he may not be interested and could just try to take the throne for himself. Extremely doubtful knowing Jon, but you never know what the showrunners will do. Jon's parentage could be revealed a few ways. Bran communicating it to him somehow, Sam finding evidence at the Citadel, or Howland Reed, the only survivor from the Tower of Joy sequence besides Ned, could show up to break the news to him. It makes sense that such a big reveal will make itself known to the world at some point next season. It secures Jon's role as leader in the North, and hey, maybe it will be enough to make Sansa kick out Littlefinger. I know, not likely. If anything, it would make Littlefinger unhappy with the situation, and God knows you do not want to piss that man off. If Jon really is the prince that was promised like Melisandre believes, then conveniently finding out you're a prince could really help him be sold on that prophecy. Looking forward to seeing how that plays out. Number 1. Wrecking Ball that wall. So, at the beginning of Season 6, we had 4 major conflicts going down. The Sparrows versus the Crown, Dany's forces versus the Sons of the Harpy, the Boltons versus the Starks, and the overarching conflict of the White Walkers versus humanity. By the end of the season, the North is united and Dany has gathered her forces and set sail for Westeros. So there's only 2 main conflicts remaining, the battle for King's Landing and the War for the Dawn. With only 2 shortened seasons remaining, here's what's basically going to go down, at least in my head. Season 7 will focus mainly on the control of the Iron Throne, but at the conclusion of the season, we will see the beginnings for the Battle of the Dawn, which is the focus for Season 8. We're coming into Season 7 having just seen a chunk of King's Landing be set aflame, so what better way to lead into Season 8 by having the wall either fall or at the very least part of it be destroyed to allow the White Walkers safe passage. I had originally thought it was going to fall at the end of Season 6 when Jon gives Ed that line, "Don't knock it down while I'm gone," but it makes sense after seeing what they did with the wildfire plot while they waited. If the Night's King's mark works on the wall the same way that it did Bloodraven's hideout, then it's possible that Bran going over the wall could give the White Walkers the ability to cross it. We know Bran isn't planning to stay north of the wall unless he realizes this possibility ahead of time, though that's very unlikely since his character right now is mostly just there to fuck everything up. I would expect the wall falling in the last episode, serving as a really great cliffhanger for the next season. We know that the wall is the only thing standing between humanity and the White Walkers, so once it's gone, we know it's going to get ugly. So yeah, those are my top 10 predictions for Season 7. Do you agree? Disagree? What predictions do you have that I haven't listed here? What events do you expect to see in Bran's visions? Post in the comments below. Now, I'll still be making Game of Thrones videos periodically, but I am going to be getting back to my normal video schedule, so keep an eye out. If you haven't already, hit the like and subscribe buttons below to keep up with all my new content. As always, I'm Calluna, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!
Geek Vision.